What type of home would you live in if you could design it and build it yourself? A home is probably the most sacred place for all of us. It's the place where we live. It's the place where we share our time with our families. It's a place where we eat. It's a place where we get to de-stress and leave the world. But now, how many of us get to design that sacred place? How many of us have any input in the building of that home? Do you know who built your home? Do you know when it was built? Do you know the inspiration behind the building of your home? Or was it just put together? These are questions I'm sure most Americans probably don't ask themselves because we just don't think anything of it. But I'm going to say that it can profoundly influence your life if you learn why designing and building a house is way better than actually buying a traditional home on the market. This is what I call breaking free from the matrix of home ownership. This is Munir, Conversations with a Contractor, and on today's episode, I'm going to talk about why I believe building a home is better than buying. Building is better than buying a home. These are my beliefs. This is my what my experience has given me insight in over the years of not only looking at the way people live, but also the benefits of designing and building your own home that I've been able to experience ever since maybe 2019. Which is when I built my first home from scratch. So these experiences that I've had, that I've been blessed to have, coupled with the experiences that friends and family have had in, let's say, not being all the way comfortable with the layout or the design of their home, but they had to make do with it, right? Most people, I think, just kind of make do with the box that they buy, right? Where the bathrooms are. I mean, there's so many factors into buying a home, but I mean, think about it. When people are out here buying for homes, especially now when there's an inventory shortage, like you're picking through some decisions or some options that may not even be at the top, but like bottom tier options. That's what we call them, bottom tier options. And then, so when you're looking and you're searching for a home, let's say you go to these homes with your agent, it's like you're in your mind, you're trying to figure out how you can conform your life to the way that box is. This is the absolute lowest form of home ownership to me. There's a higher level to home ownership. There's a more involved level of home ownership that I think more people can experience. I've been experiencing this again for years now. My first custom built home was a 1,100 square foot home, row home, townhome down in Baltimore City. And the story goes like this. I bought a shell from One House at a Time, which is an auctioneer for city-owned properties in Baltimore City. And I bought this shell for $5,000. I think it's a divine story how it came to play. So the address was 1113 North Collington Avenue. I already own 1117 and 1115, and these were shells. This was a part of my expansion of the community center that I wanted to do. So 1113, I didn't have ownership of, and I just felt, wouldn't it be great to buy this property, 1113, next to my other properties and turn this into a home so I can live right here on the block that I'm redeveloping, where I'm building a community center. So during this time, vacant properties were flying off the market. This was a house that was sitting, it was vacant, it was falling apart, it was run down. So I actually contacted the city to say, hey, can you guys press the sale? Or can you guys send this through what's called receivership? Receivership is where the city takes over the property and they sell the property. So that's what sends it to One House at a Time. They're the auctioneer. Now, I'm not going to lie, I was a little pessimistic. You know, I wanted something done with the property. I wish I could have taken the property and done something with it, right? That was my high goal. But my pessimistic self was, you know what, someone's going to buy this. They're going to develop it. I don't really have the money for it. True story. 2019, I had $3,000.68 in the bank. At this auction, you have to have $3,000 certified check to get into the auction. So I went to the bank, got a certified check. And so you can bid on the properties and you leave that check and then you got to pay the balance in a few days. Anyway, 1113 North College came up. I looked around. Nobody bid. Starting bid was 5,000, right? So I did this. And you know, the bidder, 5,000, do I hear 5,500, nobody else. I'm like, wow. So I got the bid, got the house, and over the next 6 months or so, I built the house and totally like from scratch. I mean, we tore everything in the old house. The only thing that was standing was the party wall. So I was able to take this box and build it the way I wanted to live in it. I had to add a 12-foot extension in the back. I needed more space. The house was only 38 feet long. It was only 11 feet wide. This was a shoebox. It was 38 feet long. I added 12 feet to make it 50. That gave me a kitchen and an extra bedroom, a second bedroom on the top floor. So I have a narrow space, so I had to pretty much design the way I wanted to live in there. I value open floor plans. First floor was wide open from the front to the back. I built the steps the way I wanted. I built the bathroom a nice size. So I exercise 1,000% creative freedom in building a house according to the way I live with my children. And that is something that I believe more people should be able to experience. And I think the home turnover rate will probably be way less. I mean, you think about it, people will move from a house that they're not necessarily connected to. You're not connected to the structure if you didn't design it, you didn't build it, you didn't have any input, you're not as connected to it. Whereas people who are in homes that they had input in designing, that they built or had built, are probably less likely to leave that home, right? So I believe building is better than buying. And when I'm saying buying, I'm talking about on the traditional market. The playing field, the current playing field offers very little involvement other than you're just financing it. And to me, that's a little short-sighted when someone, a family, or individual is making such an investment, like not just an investment of their money, but an emotional, a physical investment in moving into a new house. I think we need to give that person a little more, or that person deserves a little more control, a little more input, a little bit more creative expression into that process, right? Not just the buying process, but also the designing. So I think there's like a stronghold or monopoly on in the current world of home ownership, because a lot of people profit when you aren't involved. A lot of people can get over on you when you're not involved. So the homeowner becoming involved in the process of designing and building their home, they exercise greater control of the battlefield of that particular home being built. So I kind of break it down into like two categories of why building is better than buying a home. There's functional reasons, and then there's economic reasons. So first I'm going to talk about the functional reasons. And the first one is layout control. I mean, you think about how much your home layout affects you. Where your doors are, your windows, where the laundry room is, where your children's room is, how wide the hallway is, how wide the steps are. Like the layout of your home literally dictates how you live 24/7, right? I mean, your whole, even your work. I mean, even work and how you feel at work, how you present yourself is dictated by what's going on in your household, right? We talk about the home being the sacred center for human beings, and it affects you mentally, spiritually, physically. So just think about the individual who lives in a home where the layout is, I mean, it's like it's not functional for them, right? They have to conform to it. So they're not feeling as free. They're not feeling this sense of satisfaction and enjoyment from this physical structure that they live in, because they don't like that the tub is right next to the toilet, or they don't like that they have to go all the way to the basement to the laundry room, or they don't like this, or they don't like that. I mean, we live with so many I don't like this, I don't like that in our houses. I don't think we really understand how much that affects us psychologically and how that psychological impact everything else, right? So when you are building, designing, and building your own home, you have a greater, again, you're exercising your ability to create the functional layout, right? The dimensional space that you want. I love tall ceilings. I hate short ceilings, right? So all my projects or my homes that I built, I got to have tall ceilings. It just feels better to me. I like big windows. I put huge windows in my house because I like to invite nature in the house. So these layout things, or this freedom that you experience when you are designing and building your house, it creates such a functional value for you, for your spouse, for your children, or whoever's going to occupy that home. So the second is creative expression. Again, I don't think we really understand in this world that we live in how much creativity affects how we feel. And when you are in a space where you have it's that space is an expression of your creativity, you're going to value that space a lot more. It's the same with the workspace. Right? What do people do at work if they work in cubicles or an office? They begin to put things here and there, right? They need to have this creative expression. They don't just work in with just plain sheetrock all around. Like it'll get tired, it'll get boring, right? To sustain that person at that workplace, they got to tweak it. We do this with our home office. We do this with our homes, right? But there's only but so many pictures and mirrors you can hang in your house that if you don't like the house. But you have the ability, when you're designing and building your home, you have the ability of really inserting your creative expression throughout the house. Maybe you want round features more, or more than square features, or maybe you want, again, more open space, or you want the type of flooring that you feel comfortable or better with, right? These are just little inserts of your creativity. When you're designing and building a house, it allows you to do so. So creative freedom is a functional benefit of designing and building your own home. You don't have that when you are buying a traditional house on the market. Now, yes, you can do some renovations, and that's typically what people do. But imagine not having to go through the renovation process and owning the entire process of building the house. So another element is material choices. When you walk in homes now, and you start looking at the floors, you start looking at the doors and the trimming and the doorknobs and the fixtures, and again, you're put in this place where you're making this big investment. And then not only do you have to make the investment to get the asset, but if it's not to your liking, but maybe that's the best house to buy. Now you got to make all these investments in changing the materials because you find something different. Well, when you're building a house, designing and building a house, you are able to select those materials from the jump. So that means once the house is completed and you move in, there's no home renovations to do. You don't have to change the floor. You don't have to rip the carpet up, right? The things that you have to do when you're buying other houses. And it doesn't matter if the house is brand new. A brand new house can be built, but if you didn't have any input in it, then it still brings you to the point of you having to conform or to alter something, and alterations cost money. A brand new house can be built with all carpet. And let's say you have allergy issues. I know a friend now, she just moved into an apartment. It has all carpet, and it's giving her serious respiratory issues. Now, she doesn't own it, so, she can't change it. But these are factors that, again, influence the way we live. When you design and build your own home, then you have greater control at the beginning to manipulate those things and not have to go through all these major renovations and alterations, later on. So another huge benefit of designing and building your home is you have greater control over the integrity of the work behind the walls. The most important part of the home is what's going on behind the walls. I tell folks all the time, don't be fooled by a cute granite top and nice fancy fixtures, light fixtures, shower fixtures. It doesn't mean nothing if the plumbing system, if the electrical system, if the HVAC system is done incorrectly behind the walls. You're going to suffer. You're going to have a hard time in that home. If you design and build your own home, then that means at every stage of the completion of those different work stages, you're able to verify that those things were done correctly in conjunction with the inspectors. But you can't always rely on inspectors. I tell folks all the time, don't think these inspectors come from heaven. They are regular people too. Inspectors got issues. Inspectors have personality conflicts. Some inspectors are great. Some inspectors are horrible. Some do their job. Some suck at their job. So when you are doing the design and build yourself, you are able to be a part of that process of ensuring and verifying the work that's going on before the sheetrock goes up, before the insulation goes in the wall cavities. It gives people a sense of satisfaction that the home that they are in is going to last a lot longer. I went through that, just recently, and that's why I chose to build my own home, right, or build my current home from scratch, is because I wanted a certain plumbing system. I wanted a certain insulation system in my home. I wanted, I wanted control over what was going on behind the walls. So I experimented with this house. I have insulation on the outside of the house, exterior insulation, but I also have a new type of insulation, or it's not new, but it's new to me, a spray foam insulation on the inside of the house. I used a new plumbing system. I've used CPVC plumbing forever. I use PEX plumbing for this house. I created a plumbing manifold to kind of control the distribution of water throughout the house and gives me control. Instead of shutting the water down in the whole house, I can now just shut it down to a particular bathroom. So these are things I was able to do because I designed and built my own house. It gave me that control, and it gave me the opportunity to make sure of what was going on behind the walls was absolute. I'll tell you this, and I'm so glad while we were doing the construction, I found this out. My sewer line, my 4-inch sewer line in the basement, it was collapsed about 30 feet from the house. So I had a plumber come and snake the line, right? And it was actually his suggestion, and I'm so glad he suggested. He said, Munir, have you had anyone look at the sewer line? And I said, no. I poured some water down and it flowed. I thought it was pretty good. So he sent the camera in, and the pipe was collapsed about 30 feet from the house. Now, this is a 4-bathroom house, plus the kitchen and the laundry room. It wouldn't have taken long after the house was built, right? It wouldn't have taken long for that issue to pop up. Everything would have just been flowing right out. It would have backed up. It would have been a mess. So I was able to address that. We installed brand new sewer line all the way to the sewer. So 110 feet of new sewer line all the way to the sewer. And this was this old cast iron pipe that was in the ground. So, I don't even know how long ago it was installed, at least probably 50 or 60 years ago. But because I'm in the process of designing and I'm building the house, I was able to figure that out and address it. It wasn't like I moved in and then figured out, that the sewer pipe was collapsed, because maybe, let's say someone else built the house and then I moved in. I would have never known, right? And it would have been catastrophic. So that's a huge reason functionally why it's important or it's beneficial if you are in the, if you are putting yourself to be in position in a home. If you can design and build your own home, you'll have a 3,000% better awareness of what's going on behind the walls, right? Because you'll be there before the insulation and before the sheetrock goes in. I'm Munir Bahar. This is Conversations with the Contractor. Thank you for tuning into the show. Like the show, subscribe, comment, be a part of the experience. This is Core Construction.